New CEO fired me. Despite my team generating 60% of company revenue, the board panicked when the mahogany conference table reflected the harsh fluorescent lights as I sat across from Marcus Chen, our newly appointed CEO. His Armani suit was impeccable, his smile practiced, and his eyes cold as winter steel. After 15 years with DataSync Solutions, I knew this meeting would change everything. Sarah, he began, his voice smooth as aged whiskey, I'm afraid we need to discuss your future with the company. I straightened in my chair, my hands steady, despite the adrenaline coursing through my veins. As VP of Enterprise Solutions, I'd weathered many storms, but this felt different. Marcus had been CEO for exactly 3 weeks, and in that time he'd already replaced half the C-suite with his own people from his previous company. I'm listening, I replied, maintaining eye contact. He slid a folder across the table. Your severance package. I'm restructuring the enterprise division, and I'm afraid your position has been eliminated. The words hung in the air like a guillotine blade. I didn't touch the folder. Marcus, my team generates 60% of this company's revenue. We landed the Morrison Industries contract last month. That alone is worth $40 million annually. You're seriously considering dismantling the most profitable division in DataSync. His smile never wavered. I appreciate your past contributions, Sarah, but I have a new vision for this company. We're moving in a different direction, one that requires fresh leadership and innovative thinking. Fresh leadership. The phrase was laughable coming from someone who'd spent the last decade running companies into the ground before golden parachuting to the next victim. I'd done my homework on Marcus Chen. His track record was a graveyard of once thriving businesses. And my team? I asked, though. I suspected I already knew the answer. They'll be reassigned under new management. My associate from Pinnacle Tech, James Morrison, will be taking over. He has extensive experience in enterprise solutions. James Morrison. I knew that name too. Marcus's golf buddy, whose extensive experience consisted primarily of inheriting his father's business and driving it to bankruptcy within 2 years. I stood, leaving the severance folder untouched. You're making a mistake, Marcus. My team isn't just a collection of employees. We're a precision machine. We know our clients personally. We've spent years building relationships that can't be transferred with a memo. That's exactly the problem, Marcus countered, rising as well. Too much dependence on personal relationships. We need scalable systems, not individual heroics. I almost laughed. Scalable systems. Corporate buzzword bingo at its finest. I'll clean out my office, I said, heading for the door. HR will escort you out within the hour, he called after me. Security protocol for executive departures. Of course, can't have the woman who built the company's profit engine walking around freely. She might tell people the truth. Back in my office, I had less than 60 minutes to process 15 years of my life. The walls were covered with photos from company retreats, client celebrations, and team victories. My team. 25 of the most talented, dedicated people I'd ever had the privilege of leading. My phone buzzed. Text from David, my lead architect. Sarah, what's happening? Security just told us you're leaving. Then another from Lisa, our client relations director. Please tell me this is a joke. And another. And another. I couldn't respond to them all, but I sent a quick group message. Team meeting. Conference room. B. 10 minutes. Security be damned. These people deserve to hear it from me. The conference room filled quickly. 25 faces, all wearing expressions of confusion and concern. These weren't just employees. They were the people who'd stayed late to meet impossible deadlines, who'd flown across the country on a moment's notice to save client relationships, who'd innovated solutions that our competitors couldn't dream of. I'll make this quick, I began. Marcus Chen has decided to restructure our division. I've been let go effective immediately. The room erupted. Shouts of disbelief, angry exclamations, and more than a few expletives directed at our new CEO. David stood up. His face flushed. This is insane. We just landed Morrison. We're about to close Takara Global. We have a pipeline worth over $100 million. I know, I said, raising my hand for quiet. And you're going to be reporting to James Morrison from Pinnacle Tech. The silence that followed was deafening. Everyone in the room knew Pinnacle Tech's reputation, or rather its lack thereof. Lisa was the first to speak. He can't seriously expect us to work under someone who couldn't sell water in a desert. Our clients will jump ship immediately. That's not my problem anymore. I said, though it killed me to say it. But it is yours. Whatever you decide to do, make sure it's the right choice for your careers and your families. Tom Chen, no relation to Marcus, our youngest team member, raised his hand. What are you going to do, Sarah? I smiled for the first time that day. I'm going to take a vacation. First one in 5 years. Then, we'll see. Security arrived, then 2 burly men who looked uncomfortable with their assignment. I said my goodbyes, quickly hugged those closest to me, and walked out with my head high. The next 3 days were a blur. Word of my termination spread through the industry like wildfire. My phone didn't stop ringing. Competitors offering positions, clients expressing concern, reporters wanting statements. I ignored them all, focusing instead on the mundane tasks of updating my resume and finally cleaning out my garage. But on the 4th day, everything changed. I was enjoying my morning coffee when my phone rang. The caller ID showed Harrison Blake, chairman of DataSync's board of directors. Sarah, we need to talk, immediately. Good morning to you too, Harrison. Can you come to my office? Not the DataSync building, my private office downtown. Interesting. I'm not sure that's appropriate, Harrison. I no longer work for DataSync. Please, Sarah, it's urgent. An hour later, I was sitting in Harrison's opulent downtown office, watching the 70-year-old businessman pace behind his desk like a caged tiger. We've lost Morrison Industries, he said, without preamble. I sipped my tea. That was fast. They pulled out yesterday, cited lack of confidence in new leadership, $40 million gone. He stopped pacing to stare at me. That's not the worst of it. I waited. Takara Global called this morning. They're reconsidering the contract. So did Pinnacle Health Systems and Vector Corporation. He slumped into his chair. Your team, Sarah, they're in full revolt. Revolt? David Chen tendered his resignation yesterday. Lisa followed an hour later. As of this morning, 18 of your 25 team members have either resigned or given notice. I couldn't suppress a small smile. My team, loyal to the end. The ones who resigned. Harrison continued, they're not going quietly. They're reaching out to clients explaining the situation. We've had calls from every major account asking what the hell is going on. And what is going on, Harrison? Why did you let Marcus fire me without board consultation? He had the grace to look ashamed. Marcus came highly recommended. His credentials were impeccable. He promised to modernize our operations, increase efficiency by 30%, and double our market cap within 2 years. And you believed him. The board believed him. He had a compelling presentation, detailed plans, projections that... He trailed off. We should have consulted you. Yes, you should have. Harrison leaned forward. Sarah, I need you to come back. Name your terms. What about Marcus? The board is meeting in emergency session this afternoon. After losing Morrison and with the others threatening to leave, his position is untenable. I stood. Harrison, I appreciate the offer, but I need time to think. We don't have time. Every hour that passes, we lose more ground. Our stock has already dropped 12% since news of your departure leaked. Then, perhaps the board should have thought of that before letting a newcomer fire the person responsible for more than half your revenue. I left Harrison's office with his desperate pleas echoing behind me. Back in my car, I called David. Sarah, thank God, this place is imploding. I heard Harrison just offered me my job back. Are you taking it? I paused. What's the situation there? It's chaos. Marcus brought in 5 of his cronies from his old company, They're talking about synergies and paradigm shifts, while our clients are heading for the exits. James Morrison showed up yesterday and asked me to explain what we do here. I'm not joking. He literally doesn't understand our business model. And the team, those of us still here, are basically running interference trying to keep clients calm. But Sarah, we can't hold the line much longer. If you're not coming back, he didn't need to finish. If I wasn't coming back, they'd all leave and DataSync's enterprise division would collapse entirely. That evening, I met with the team members who'd already resigned. We gathered at Murphy's, our old after-work haunt. The mood was simultaneously celebratory and mournful. "I've had 3 job offers already," Lisa announced, raising her beer, "including one from Morrison Industries. They want me to help them find a new software partner." Similar stories echoed around the table. My team was talented. They wouldn't stay unemployed long. "What about you, boss?" Tom asked. "You taking Harrison's offer?" "I don't know," I admitted. "Part of me wants to let them deal with the mess they created." "But," David prompted, "but there are still good people at DataSync. Employees in other divisions who don't deserve to lose their jobs because the board made a stupid decision." Lisa leaned in. "If you go back, we go back. But only if things change. Real change, not just Marcus getting the boot." Murmurs of agreement rippled through the group. "What kind of changes?" I asked. "Board oversight on executive hires," David said immediately. "No more CEOs with golden parachutes who can destroy the company and walk away rich." "Employee representation on the board," Lisa added. "We need a voice. And protection for our division," Tom chimed in. "No more restructuring without consultation with the people actually doing the work." I looked around the table at these incredible people who were willing to follow me back into the fire. "You'd all really come back." "If you're leading," David said simply, "we're following." The next morning, I called Harrison. "I'll meet with the board, but I have conditions." "Anything?" "I want it in writing." The board meeting was scheduled for 2 p.m. I arrived at 1:45 to find chaos in the executive conference room. Board members were shouting over each other, papers were scattered across the table, and Marcus Chen sat at the head still wearing that infuriating smile. "Ah, Sarah," he said as I entered. "Come to watch the ship sink." "Actually," Harrison interjected, "Sarah is here at the board's invitation." Marcus's smile faltered. "What?" I took a seat at the opposite end of the table. "Hello, Marcus. How's the new vision working out?" "Oh." Before he could answer, board member Patricia Williams slammed her hand on the table. "Enough." Marcus explained to me how we lost $40 million in annual revenue in less than a week. "Temporary setback," Marcus said smoothly. "Change is always difficult. Once we implement my systems," "Your systems," board member Robert Chase interrupted. "Your systems have caused a mass exodus of our top talent and a stock price free fall. The market overreacts. In 6 months." "We don't have 6 months," Harrison roared. "At this rate, we won't have 6 weeks." I watched the drama unfold, saying nothing. Marcus tried every trick in the corporate playbook, blaming market conditions, claiming the employees were resistant to change, insisting his vision just needed time. But the board wasn't buying it anymore. The numbers were too stark, the losses too immediate. Finally, Patricia turned to me. "Sarah, if we reinstate you as VP of Enterprise Solutions, can you salvage this situation?" "That depends," I said. "What are you offering?" Harrison slid a document across the table. "Everything you asked for. Board oversight on executive decisions, employee representation, divisional autonomy, and," he paused, "a significant increase in compensation for you and your team." I read through the document carefully. They'd agreed to everything and added a few sweeteners I hadn't even requested. "There's one thing missing," I said. "Name it," Harrison replied immediately. I looked directly at Marcus. "He goes. Today. No golden parachute. No transition period. He cleans out his office and leaves." "You can't be serious," Marcus sputtered. "I have a contract, which includes a morality clause and performance benchmarks," Patricia said coldly. Losing 60% of our revenue in a week qualifies as failure on both counts. The vote was unanimous. Marcus Chen was terminated effective immediately, his grand vision dying after just 27 days. As security escorted him out, poetic justice, I thought. Harrison turned to me. So, do we have a deal? I stood. I need to make a call. Outside the conference room, I called David, still at Murphy's. Yeah, the whole gang's here, waiting for news. Tell them to sober up. We're going back to work tomorrow. The cheer I heard through the phone could probably be heard from space. Walking back into the conference room, I found the board members looking at me with a mixture of hope and desperation. I'll take the job, I announced. But we do this my way. Agreed, Harrison said immediately. First order of business. I need to call Morrison Industries. Then, Takara Pinnacle Health and Vector. We have relationships to repair. Whatever you need, Patricia assured me. The next 3 weeks were a masterclass in damage control. My team came back en masse energized and more committed than ever. We worked 18-hour days rebuilding trust with clients who'd been spooked by the chaos. Morrison Industries was the first to return. The CEO, Janet Morrison, no relation to James, laughed when I called. Sarah, I only pulled out to make a point. When are you sending over the contract? Takara took more convincing, but Lisa worked her magic. Vector required a face-to-face meeting and some pricing concessions. Pinnacle Health made us sweat for a week before recommitting, but we did it. Within a month, not only had we recovered the lost revenue, but we'd actually increased it. The near-death experience had galvanized the team. We were leaner, meaner, and more focused than ever. The board kept their promises. David was elected as the first employee representative. New governance structures were put in place, and Marcus Chen's replacement was chosen through a rigorous process that included input from senior staff. 6 months later, I was sitting in my office, the same one Marcus had me escorted from, when Harrison knocked. Got a minute? Always for you, Harrison. He sat down, looking older, but more relaxed than I'd seen him in years. The board wanted me to thank you. Our stock is up 30%. Revenue is at an all-time high. And employee satisfaction scores are through the roof. We all learned some valuable lessons, I said diplomatically. Indeed, he paused. You know, when Marcus fired you, I thought it was just another executive shakeup. I didn't realize that relationships matter, that the people doing the work might actually know something about the work. He chuckled. Something like that. Standing to leave, he added, For what it's worth, Sarah, the board has learned its lesson. No more hired guns with fancy presentations. We're sticking with people who've proven themselves. After he left, I looked around my office at the photos on the walls, the same ones I'd almost had to leave behind. But now, there were new ones too. Pictures from our comeback celebration, images of the team accepting industry awards, shots of happy clients at our appreciation dinner. My phone buzzed. Text from David. Team meeting in 5. Lisa says she has a lead on a huge new client. I smiled, standing to head to the conference room. Some CEOs might see generating 60% of company revenue as a burden, a risk to be managed or diminished. Marcus Chen certainly had. But me, I saw it as proof of what happened when you trusted your people, valued relationships over systems, and remembered that business was ultimately about human connections. The board had panicked when those connections walked out the door, as they should have. Because in the end, a company isn't its buildings or its patents or its strategic visions. It's its people. And I had the best people in the business. Walking into that conference room, seeing my team animated and excited about new possibilities, I knew we weren't just back. We were better than ever. Marcus Chen had done us a favor, really. He'd reminded us all of our worth, not just in dollars and contracts, but in the irreplaceable value of a team that trusted each other. Sometimes you have to lose something to truly appreciate its value. And sometimes a crisis is exactly what you need to come back stronger than before. As Lisa began presenting her new client opportunity, I settled into my chair surrounded by the people who'd stood by me when it mattered most. We'd weathered the storm. Now it was time to sail.